Hi guys, Ryu here with an attitude for Blender, and this one I'm going to show you how to use Lattice with HardOPS because, it's easier. So let's grab a cube and let's actually turn on cavity and shadows and also screencast keys. Alright, so let's make it a bit, narrower, Lattice, and a bit taller. Okay, now let's apply scale. Now, to use Lattice, that will bend this object, we need to introduce some loops or some geo, sub D or whatever. You could do it in various ways. For example, as I said, you could add sub D. So for instance, what you could do is either secure the edges with crease. So you could select all the edges and simply crease them. And then when you add sub D, so Control 2, nothing will happen because of the creases that hold the structure. But if you start moving this shape, you will see that it's no longer a block, it's actually being subdivided. Another way of doing this, right, let's remove these marks, will be through using DICE. DICE is a tool from HardOPS, and it's actually, well, in this case you don't really need it because you can run loop cuts, right, with simply pressing Ctrl R in any direction. But if it wasn't a square, and let's say for example it was an end gun, right, like let's say we're going to cut it with a box cutter. So let's cut something like this, and maybe let's actually unify it, and let's recall this cutter, and let's actually do something like this, and then we're going to apply the shape, right? So go to operations and smart apply, which will apply the modifiers. And now it's an end gun, so there's no way you can run loops through it because it will just simply not let you, right, because of all the end guns around. Now, in situations like this, you want to use DICE because it's just, exactly for this purpose. It's like a loop tool, regardless of topology. So when you run DICE, you got this pop-up menu, but basically when you move your mouse left and right, you can see that the different axes are being displayed. So let's go on the x-axis and add some loops with a mouse wheel and apply it. And now you can see that the mesh was sliced. Okay, you need to be a bit careful with where you place them, so when you actually run a bevel on it, right, it will not interfere with the loops, right? So this one is a little bit too close, so we might just move it tinsy-winsy bit down. Yeah, so there's your bevel, right? If you want to deform this kind of a shape, what you're gonna do is run the lattice, and we're gonna run it through HardOPS as well. So we're gonna apply lattice as a modifier, right? And then it's really easy to use it through HardOPS because what you do is press Q, you got a new menu. So if you have lattice selected, right, not the object but lattice, you simply press on the axis of your choice, and you move your mouse, right mouse to cancel, and you can add loops in whichever direction you want. So let's say you want to add loops in this direction. So let's add them on the z-axis, and we're gonna have something like this. Let's go to side view, orthographic, and let's actually grab this middle loop. Is a box tool, so B for selected. It will select everything across. You don't have to use X-ray mode for this one. Now we're gonna press O key, and this will introduce our proportional editing, G, and now you can really work on deforming this shape. So you could do it symmetrically on the y-axis, for example, and come up with something like this. Let's hide the lattice for a second. Now if you wanted to, because we have a bevel going on, we could subdivide it. So for example, select the shape and go to Ctrl 3, and this will subdivide this mesh further, right? So again, bevel is holding it, so if I turn off the bevel, is going to be a little bit messy. Okay, so if you don't want to use bevel, you just have to go back with creases. Now you can see shading problem in here, but the reason for it is that we only have horizontal lines added through DICE. So what you want to do is add some more, but vertical ones, right? So let's slice it vertically, and now you can see that this disappeared because now every single bit of this mesh is being supported. So you can, you know, like I said, you can either subdivide it and run a dice, whatever you want. Subdivision is non-destructive, so in this case might be a bit better. This is a great way of actually getting some kind of a bent shape in hard surface without the need of sculpting it or going through the traditional modeling, polygon modeling. So if you want to, you know, achieve a quick effect, this is probably the way to go about it. So let's say you create some tiny details on a model that you're going to use as a high poly bake. You don't really care about topology, all you care about is shading, so this is a perfect way of doing it to save you time. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the quick vid, and as always, links to HardOPS, box cutter, and machine add-ons in the video description, so if you don't have them, go ahead and buy them. You're gonna help me as well at the same time. Doesn't cost you anything. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.